In the last video, we created the functionality to generate the text shadow by calling our function. When we hover off the color picker, we call the function. So we can change the horizontal by changing our inputs and change our vertical by changing our inputs. But so far, we haven't done anything with the spread. So in the code, see, we have the spread as a variable. It's equal to the spread number. Let's copy that. And down here where we have it hard-coded, let's replace it with 2 single quotes and then 2 plus signs. And inside the plus signs, we'll add our variable. Now, we need to make sure that we have our spaces. So for example, we have, because this is all one, the value of this property is a combination of different values. So we need spaces. We need a space between our first value, a space here and a space here. We need to make sure we have the space here, and everywhere we have a string that is concatenated with a variable, we need to make sure we have that space. Because if you notice that we have spaces between our separate values, and so when we hard code, when we concatenate our variables, we just need to make sure that we maintain those spaces, otherwise it's not going to work. So we need to be very careful with our text shadows. Now you notice that we have our spread in a variable. It's equal to the spread number, the value of the spread number, with the pixels attached to it. Now we also need to create 2 other levels of our spread. So right here where we have 12 pixels, let's add 2 single quotes and then 2 plus signs, and then inside the 2 plus signs we'll put spread underscore 2. Okay, now also let's do it with 48 pixels, 2 plus signs, 2 single quotes, 2 plus signs, and spread underscore 3. Now let's go up here and make those 2 other variables. So let's declare spread underscore 2 equals spread times 2, and then copy that, make spread 3 equal to spread times 3. Okay, so now we have to add the pixels. Okay, so now let's check this out. Let's console.log spread 2. See what we get. Okay, so let's save it, refresh, call the function somehow, check the inspect element, NANPX. So what's happening here? So in spread we added the pixels, that made it a string. Now we're trying to multiply a string by 2 and then add px again. That's why we're getting the not a number px. Okay, so what we need to do, first thing, let's get rid of this console.log and take this spread with this px, the pixels attached to it, and paste it down below. Now we take the pixels off and everything should work good. Because what we're doing is we get the spread, leave it as a number, and then we do all the calculations, and when we spread 2 equals the number spread times 2, then we add the pixels. Spread 3 equals the number spread times 3, and then we add the pixels. And then we take the spread, the number spread, and add our pixels to that spread after we did the calculations. Okay, so now let's save this and look at it, refresh. So let's give the text, the text some black, dark font so we can see it. Okay, so let's go to the text shadow, give it some horizontal, that's working, vertical is working. Now let's see if our spread works. Increase the number, and you see this, there's some spread coming up as we increase the number in our input. Okay, so let's go back to the code and try something else. Let's change the multipliers. We have spread. Let's change that to 4. Okay, let's save that and check it out. Give the font some black color, text shadow, increase the spread. You see the spread now is increasing faster because we gave it a higher multiplier. So back to the code, let's change that back to, let's change this to a 4 and change that to an 8. Try that. Okay, so let's give it some spread. You see the spread is increasing a lot faster because we gave it higher multipliers. So, no, just change it to 1.5. This is actually going to make it less, it's going to make it less spready, but change it. So let's see and give it some more spread. And you see the spread is not growing as fast, but it seems to be like brighter. Now let's go back to the code and declare another variable. This time let's call it shadow color. Let's set that equal to, let's set it equal to the value of our shadow color input. I'm going to copy that, and down below, now we already have the pound sign in front of it because we're going to get it from our color picker. So let's set that to our second variable. Remember, 2 single quotes and then 2 plus signs and then our variable right in the middle. 2 single quotes, 2 plus signs, and put our shadow color in the middle of the plus signs. Again, the 2 single quotes, 2 plus signs, and our variable. Okay, now because we are in an object, we cannot have a comma at the last, after the last key value pair. So we'll take the comma out. So this is an object. Remember, when we create multiple CSS properties, and we need to use an object, and each object has a key value pair, key value, comma, key value, but the last key value pair does not have a comma, and that's why we cannot have a comma after the last shadow color. Okay, for now, let's take this shadow color, let's hard code this kind of. Let's give it F00. This is red. This is shorthand for red. Okay, let's save that and give it a horizontal, vertical, and then a spread. And you see the spreads coming up, but we've hard coded it. So what we need to do is we need to get the value of our shadow color. And then we will have it. Now we don't have, let's go to the HTML. Do we have a shadow color? So when you don't have a shadow color, let's make one. Input type text ID equals shadow color value. So now in the JavaScript where we click the TD tag of our color picker, we need to create another else if statement. That's else if. Now let's see, let's get our shadow, I think that's text shadow button. If that has the active class, then what we want to do is get the shadow color, the value of the shadow color, and set its background color equal to the color we click on. So let's try that. Okay, so that's working. But let's see if we can call the function and create the color when we call the function. And that part's not working. So let's go to the code and figure this out. Let's go to the console. No errors in the console. Let's take a look at what we have down here. So our variable shadow color is just the element. So let's take a look. Let's console.log shadow color. Copy that and paste it right here. And save that. And okay, let's call the function. Let's see what we get. Okay. So let's see. We have the element. Okay, we don't have the value though. So let's go back to the code. And that's our problem. We need to get the shadow color value. Okay, so now let's see if that works. Okay, so let's give it a dark color, the font color. Shadow color, let's give it red. Now let's give it some horizontal, and that's working. Vertical, spread, and let's change the color. When we call the function, hover off, and we are dynamically creating our shadow color. Okay, so now next we got to create the functionality so that when we hover over the color, when we have the text shadow button selected, then we want to change the color when we hover it. Okay. Also, we need to create the text for our text shadow down below in our code section. So we're going to do all that in the next video. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and in the next video, we'll continue working on our text shadow color and our code section, and then we'll test it. So I'll see you in the next video.